Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to eHave Indonesia 2020 Goes Online. My name is Haris and I'm going to be moderating this webinar. This webinar is going to be presented by Mr. Darren from International Institute of Social Studies. Please stay tuned until the end of this webinar because we are going to have question and answer session. If you have any question related to the webinar or the presentation or anything related to the country's higher education, you can submit your questions in YouTube's comment section anytime throughout the presentation. And now, without any further ado, please welcome the representative of International Institute of Social Studies, Mr. Darren. Time is yours.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction. Can everybody see the presentation at the moment? Hello, can anybody, I hope everybody can see the presentation. I'm just going to give can you see the presentation?
Right now we can only see you. Maybe you can start the presentations and share it and it will go directly online.
Yeah, that's what I'm already doing. I'm already sharing the presentation. Can you see it now?
Yes, but okay, yeah. But can you make it full screen so everyone can see it?
Oh.
All right, I think that's perfect.
Very good. Well, sorry for that minor technical difficulties, everyone. As already mentioned, my name is Darren, and I am from the International Institute of Social Studies, and I am responsible for the education marketing and also the enrollment of future master students to ISS. That is my task, and I hope everybody is staying fine and healthy during these crazy times, very unexpected how things are going. Nevertheless, we already have a lot of students that are at ISS, even though there are a lot of restriction coming to ISS or to the Netherlands this year because of the pandemic. Out of the 125 students that we have, already around 70 students are already at ISS. They are not coming to the university yet, but they are doing online education at the moment. But there is a talk that in January we will move to a more blended study. So that is the hope for January, and then come September for the new students, hopefully some of you or all of you, we will have a physical class. Let's hope. But that is what we would like to see, and let's see how it goes. So these are the contents of what we're going to talk today. I'm going to give you a little introduction about ISS, what programs you have, what funding opportunities that you can take as an Indonesian students, how is it like living in the Netherlands, about The Hague a little bit, and also a little bit about the ISS alumni. So in a nutshell, we were founded in 1952. So we were an independent institute until 2009. Then we started to join Erasmus University, but we still kept our status of an independent institute. We have a multicultural learning environment. For example, there are many lecturers and also students that come from around the world. Like in 2018, we had about 52 different countries that actually, students from 52 different countries that actually studied at ISS. So that is super amazing. And the great thing is you learn from different cultures as well. So multicultural learning environment, international student staff, as I related to what I mentioned earlier. So there's a lot of lecturers coming from abroad, not just Dutch lecturers. Everything is in English, so all the education and also the lectures and assignments are all provided in English. We use interdisciplinary approach. What it means is how the lecturers in class is not just all about books, but it's also about assignments, also about how you learn to be together as a team to achieve an outcome. And the other thing is whatever the lecturers that are giving their talk to you, they're also bringing their own projects that they are actually working on, and also teaching what they are learning towards to you. So it's like a give and take. So that's what interdisciplinary approach is at ISS. So you all not only learn from the lecturers also learn from you. So it goes two ways. That's wonderful, I think. So we have our research, of course. Our research is focused on 4 different subjects: the migration and diversity, conflict and peace, social protection and equality, environment and climate change focus. So this is probably more interesting than my previous slides, I think. As you can see, the highest number of students, this is comparison of 5 years, students who came to ISS to do their master program. So 2016 to 2020, as you can see, Asian students are ruling. The Asian students means from students from Indonesia, from India, from China. We have the highest number of students from this continent itself, and then followed by Africa, and then Latin America, Europe, North America, Middle East, and then Oceania. Oceania means like New Zealand and Australia. So a lot of students coming from Asia to study at ISS, which is really good. I think in my next few slides, I'll be also showing the number of Indonesian students we currently have, and also in the past 5 years. That is. As you can see, this year, 2020 and 2021, we have 21 students studying at ISS at the moment. I'm not sure if everybody has arrived, but at least half of them has arrived. I have met a few, but not all because of the pandemic itself. Last year, we had 15, the year before 28, and then in 2017, 20. And then the highest number we had in the past 5 years, 31. But we, of course, have 43 in 2014, 2015. So it's fluctuating, but it's always really good numbers. So that is something that we are really proud of. And that's why Indonesia is something that we keep dearly in our heart. And every year I actually travel to Indonesia for the European Higher Education Fair without fail. And I'm always helped by ISS alumni. But this year, unfortunately, the pandemic itself, it's not possible at all. As you can see at the map below in green, 43% of our students come from Asia. In 2018-19, we have to update that. It will come. But in general, this is always the case. Asia has the biggest student number, and this is followed by Africa, Latin America. Africa and Latin America, it switches. Sometimes Africa more, sometimes Latin America more. The students, our target audience, as you can see on the left side of the screen at the bottom, our target audience are mainly mid-career professionals, average 30 years old. However, recently we have seen a surge of younger students who just graduated from bachelor program and who would like to study a master program at ISS. And we allow that. Of course, there are certain criteria that you have to meet, for example, social sciences background, but even that, without the social sciences background, but you have proper internship or proper working background, that can compensate for the lack of social science background. So that is wonderful. So we are seeing more and more students coming from bachelor program, which is, I think, really, really good. Of course, they're mid-career, and of course, there are also people who are already in advanced career, for example, 50 years old. We also have students who are 50 years old, 35, and then as young as 21 this year. which is really good, a good blend. So if you're thinking that, oh, I'm so young, can I study here? Yes, you can, because you will learn a lot from the older students, and the older students can also learn a lot from you. So it's not going to be a problem, because it has been trial and tested and it works perfectly fine. So a little bit more detailed explanation about the master program. It starts in September next year, hopefully with the physical classes, like I explained to you earlier. It's a 15.5 months course. For about 9 months, you can be at ISS. You have to be at ISS, sorry. And then the last 6 months is up to you what you want to do. When you're doing a research paper, you can either stay at ISS or go back home and graduate from home, because you do not have to do a thesis defense. Everything can be done online. Once you finish a research paper or your thesis, you can already hand it in online. So you do not have to stay the whole 15.5 months. For example, if you have work or you want to go back to your family or something like that. So that is a plus point. It's also an 88 European credit points and not the regular 60, because it's 15.5 months. We have 5 different majors and 1 major track. I will explain a little bit more later. We are looking at IELTS 6.5 with an average of 6.0 for all the sub-subject. As I mentioned earlier, everything is taught in English, so don't worry about that. We have really good, students from Indonesia who can speak tremendously good English. So I don't think it's going to be any problem with that. We have several joint degrees with Vietnam universities and also in Indonesia. I will talk about that a little bit later as well. And of course, we have several specialization that you can choose from. Specialization is not a must, but if you do it, it'll be written in your graduation paper. So for example, if you take human rights major and you would like to focus on gender equality or feminism, then that is a specialization. If you choose this specialization, then you will have to write your research paper also based on this specialization. So be careful when you choose your specialization. A specialization is not a must, but if you do choose, it will affect your research paper, because then you have to write a research paper based on your specialization. So we only have 1 intake every year, and that starts in September. As I mentioned earlier, bachelor degree in social science is what we are looking for, but it's not a hard criteria. So remember, if you have good experience working and you have very good internship, or if you have a very good motivation, for those of you who are coming out of a bachelor program, but you're not coming from a bachelor of science, social science, it's still okay. You still can try. It's not me who decides whether you go in or not, accepted or not. It's the how do you call it? The course leader who accepts you. So you have to be sure that you have a very good motivation letter. The motivation letter is key for you to get into ISS. So if you're going to apply for ISS, this is where you really have to put a lot of effort in, regardless if you have a bachelor's of social science or something else. So as I explained earlier, we have 5 different major and 1 track. So the majors are IFS, Agrarian, Food and Environmental Studies, and then Economics of Development. Most of Indonesian students, they choose Economics of Development. And then we have the Governance and Development Policy. Also Indonesian very much like this subject, especially students from the government sector. Human rights and gender conflict is the most popular major at ISS, always full class with this one, with this major. And then, of course, we have the social policy for development. And then the new track, governance, migration, and diversity track. This one is only 3 years old, and every year we have about 5 or 6 students. This track is different than the rest of the major, because you'll be learning in several different universities during your first semester. So you're not just based at ISS, but you also go to Leiden University, You also go to Erasmus University in Rotterdam. So if you want more information, you can check the website because it is very clear what criteria you have to meet to join this track. Of course, we have PhD program as well. We have teams for the PhD program. So if you want to apply, you have to apply within these research program teams, the economics of development and emerging markets, civic innovation research, governance, globalization, justice, political economy of resources. If you want to apply for the PhD program, we accept it on an ongoing basis. So there is no deadline, there is no application date. You will have to you have to research our website and then look at potential supervisors that you think can collaborate with you, and then write a proposal of what you would like to do your PhD on, and then also contact the admission office to move forward with your PhD application. Also, the PhD application, there are two different kind of PhD students. We call it in-house and also one that does abroad. So in-house means you completely stay in the Netherlands for the whole 4 years of your program, or you can also do your PhD program from home. And then I think every year, once or twice, you have to come to ISS to do certain things with your supervisor. The one where you stay abroad are people who are working, and sometimes they take a little bit more longer than the one who actually does PhD the whole 4 years at ISS. And this is the structure, as I said earlier, 4 years. It's part of the Erasmus Graduate School of Social Sciences and Humanities. You'll be given your own office space, and also a computer will be provided. So you'll be part of the like a lecturer as well. You do everything online, as I mentioned earlier, and your research proposal is
Darren, sorry, we can't hear you. We cannot hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Great.
That is so strange.
Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. Well, I'm not sure which part you cannot hear me, but I was talking about the PhD program.
Just the last 30 seconds.
Okay, so the PhD program basically, so all the information, please find it on the website, because I'm not going to go back to my explanation earlier, otherwise we do not have the time. Now, these are postgraduate courses. We used to have many, but now we have one. Postgraduate courses are short courses. So the Sustainable Local Economics of Development course, the SLED, is a 3-month course that is, we work together with another sister institute at Erasmus University as well. And the sister institute is called International Institute of Housing and Urban Development Studies, so IHS. So we work with them, and our lecturer from ISS teaches this course. So if you're interested, also please find it on our website. This is more, you get a diploma after you graduate for the 3-month course. So it's mostly attracting students who do not want to do the master, but want to increase their knowledge in this specific area. I think I mentioned it in a couple of slides ago that we have a few various double degree programs that we are affiliated with. And you can see there are 2 universities. I think one is Gajah Mada and one is University SAS Indonesia that we are affiliated with double degree programs. If you want more information, you can contact the universities, and I think this is probably only for students in that university. So not everybody can join this double degree program. So keep an eye on that. And on top of the master program, the 5 majors and 1 track, we also have another master program. It's called the Mundus MAPP Programme. This is a joint degree program with the Central University Central European University of Hungary, and also the University of York and the Barcelona University, Institute Barcelona in Spain. This is a program where you do 1 year at ISS, and then 1 year you can choose where you want to go within University of York or Barcelona. Most students go to Barcelona, but each university of, for example, University of York or the University of Barcelona, they have a specialization. So you have to choose carefully what you want to go and dive into. I think after this slide, there will be, yes, there is. So this is how, in general, the Mundus MAPP program works. So as I mentioned earlier, 1 year you'll be at ISS, and then the next year you will fly to either to York or to Barcelona. So the first year you have to do your specific courses at ISS, and then you do your research methodology, and then obligatory and optional course, your thesis report, study trip, and internship, and then you fly to the University of York or Barcelona, where you do your coursework and complete your thesis. It sounds like a very short summary, but this is a very intense course. Normally we have around 15 to 20 students studying at ISS at one time for this master program. It could be very interesting for students with a political science background, for example. So have a look at our website again for this. Now, this is the most important page probably, where students always ask, is the funding and scholarship information. For your information, we have a scholarship database in our website. So if you're finding for a scholarship, find the funding and scholarship page on our website, and then you will see there are many scholarships. There's also a database. So you find Indonesia, you click on Indonesia, and then you will see a list of scholarship that students from Indonesia can apply to study at ISS. So maybe that's something for you to think about. But most students, they come using the StuNet, the Orange Knowledge Program, OKP. They come with LPDP. Some come with other means as well. But my advice is to please go and have a look at our scholarship database, because it's very clear what kind of scholarship you can apply. So now you have done everything, you have been admitted, you have received your scholarship, you have booked your flights, and now you want to come to ISS. And voila. On a normal day without pandemic, on a normal year without a pandemic, we will pick you up. There is a service pickup at the airport. I will also talk a little bit about how you will live in The Hague, a little bit of intercultural communication, and also you will have to know a little bit things about the Netherlands. We will introduce you to the staff and your fellow colleagues, and you will also have to do a diagnostic test. Don't worry so much of the diagnostic test. The diagnostic test your Excel skills, some math, some statistics, some English, but do not worry about it, because it's not like a tricky test. Let's say majority graduate pass this test. If you want more information, again, check our website, particularly download our academic calendar on our website. So student life at ISS is wonderful. The very fact that students call the ISS the mini United Nation, because of the sheer different people from different countries and culture that come to one place and mingle with each other and share their knowledge and share their networking information. So that's why our student life is, for me, I'm not a student, but I also joined the student life because it's so wonderful and it's so nice to see different things, different culture, and understand where they're coming from and what kind of culture they're coming from, and also sometimes what kind of food they have. These are all really cool things to know. So when you're here, without the pandemic, hopefully next year there will be an international day. As I mentioned, international day is when you gather around with all your colleagues, you wear your national costume, and then you cook your national dish, and then you also explain about your country to other students, so they understand, oh, okay, Indonesia has this and that. When is your Independence Day, for example, what kind of food you have. So that's pretty cool. And of course, you have the sports day that happened in March, April. This year, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we cannot have that. But normally, the sports day, it's not just with ISS students, but is with the, I think, 6 or 7 different universities in the Netherlands combined, and you will compete with each other. For example, in football, in badminton, in volleyball, in basketball, and table tennis, darts, chess, these kind of things. Study trips, very important. It happens February. The last year students, not the new students, but the last year students were very lucky. They went for their study trips, and just when they came back, 1 week later, the whole of Netherlands were locked down. So we hope that when you are here, so in 2022 March, everything should, I hope everything will be okay, and you can proceed for your study trips. Study trips and field trips are the same, and then you also have different parties that you will be organizing your own self. We have also scholars. Scholars are the student body. They are your years. They will represent all of you, and they will be talking to the ISS management. So they'll be your eyes and ears. So if you have any issues, for example, I don't know, you have so many people making noise at the housing, you inform them, and they will be the one taking care of all these kind of things. Another important question is housing at ISS. We have 4 different housing at ISS, the Bazalan, Buitenom, Doris, and Gondelstraat. 2 of them are like 1 minute away from ISS. That's what most students are choosing at the moment because it's so close. It's about 500 to 600 euros every month, and it's in the center, so it's really, really cheap. We consider you will have your own private bathroom, but you have to share a kitchen with, I think, 4 or 6 different students. Now come to our alumni. We have 13,000 alumni. I think there are more now from 150 countries, also can be more. Every year we have alumni gatherings throughout the world. Every year when I go to Indonesia, every year I have an alumni gathering there with students, with alumni from different cities, for example, Jogja or Surabaya. So every year I organize this, or sometimes the Nufik Neso organizes this as well. We keep in touch with alumni using monthly alumni newsletters. Of course, we have a Facebook group for alumni, and of course, the LinkedIn as well. A lot of our alumni are in influential positions. For example, we have an Indonesian student who graduated 3 years ago, and his thesis was about counterterrorism, so human rights. And now he's working at UNDP in Jakarta, if I'm not mistaken. So, well, that's something for you to think about. This is just a little map that shows where students are from. You can see in Indonesia, there is 1251, you plus 132, so there's 1,500 students from Indonesia. I think that is the highest alumni society we have at ISS. So I think throughout since 1952, we have a lot of Indonesian students coming to ISS. Yeah, this is another statistics that show where students are coming from. 41% students or alumni based in Asia. This is followed by Africa, South America, Europe. Well, almost coming to the end. Well, these are our social media that you would like, if you want to connect with us, please do so. Especially there is a group called Perspective Facebook group for ISS. This is a very important group for you to join because most of the time information will be placed in there, like scholarship information or webinars or events that will take place at ISS that may be interested for you. So please join that. And also, if you have any questions, you can always contact me. I'm the first person that you will have to contact if you would like to study the master program. My contact email is study@iss.nl. So very simple. And that is the email address. Well, that's it from me. Thank you very much. And I think there will be a Q&A session. So let's start.
All right. Thank you very much, Darren, for very impressive presentations.
Yeah.
Now we move on to question and answer session. There are several questions that the webinar participants would like to ask. Number one, I'm interested in environmental issues, climate change, and in relation to smallholder issues. From all major postgraduate degrees, which one is suitable for me? If someone is interested in environmental issues, climate change, which one that she or he has to go?
I would suggest to look into the Agrarian Food and Environmental Studies. That will be the best because we have all the subjects that she or he mentioned in that area. And also remember, once you choose a major, and if you still like to choose an optional course from another major, it's also possible. So my advice is to look at that one major first and then think about that afterwards.
Okay. So next questions. Is there any bachelor degree program at ISS for intake in 2021? Maybe he or she did not follow from the beginning, or would you please re-explain if there is any bachelor degree from ISS?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do not have any bachelor degree at ISS. We only have a master program at ISS. If you would like to have a bachelor degree, please look at our Erasmus University, our father company, our father university, let's say. They have a lot of bachelor degrees there. And once you graduate with a bachelor degree at Erasmus University, it will be a much more easier transition for you to come to ISS in the future.
Okay, very well noted. Thank you. Next questions. If I am a student of history field, can I take human rights, gender, and conflict studies for my master program, or is there any other field that is more related to my major? So he
Well,
or he is a history student.
yeah. Well, I can't tell you what you should take, but I can tell you that if you're having a history background, for example, Bachelor of History, you can take any major, but as I mentioned in my presentation, you will have to have a very strong motivation letter and probably also a good internship plus some experience. If you do not have an internship experience or working experience, then you have to write a very strong motivation letter stating why you want to study, for example, in human rights major, and how your background will match and what also is your future goal when you graduate from ISS with the human rights major. So basically, even if you're from a different background, you still can join any majors, but your motivation letter is key to join ISS. If your motivation is weak or there is no link, then it's almost impossible that you will be accepted.
So basically, it's back to the personal willingness of the
Exactly.
students.
Yeah.
Okay, we move on to next questions. Is there any quota for degree students? Is there any type of Master of Arts in coursework or research? Do you like divide between coursework and research, or the only one Master of Arts is suitable to apply for PhD afterwards?
So is that there's three questions there, right?
Yes, yes. So the first question will be: is there any quota for master degree programs
Okay,
per
let's start
year?
with that question first. There is no quota. The more the merrier, of course. We would
Mm.
prefer that. So even I think the highest number we had at some point was 200 something students in 1 year, and then now we have 124, and then we have 150, 170. But this year, unfortunately, we have 124 because of the pandemic, of course. But even with the 124 students, to be honest with you, we did not expect to even get above 100 students because of the pandemic. Actually, we do not even expect to get close to 100. But as you can see, students are still willing to study and willing to fly to get their master degree at ISS. So, but saying that, no quota. And what was your
Well,
second question?
that's a really good condition actually when
Yeah,
people are still willing to study
yeah,
despite the pandemic.
yeah.
Okay, the second question, yeah, is there any type of MA, I believe it's Master of Arts, in coursework or research, or the only one Master of Arts to apply is actually for PhD afterwards? I just
Oh,
repeat the question from the participants.
yeah. I'm trying to, yeah, well, okay. So after you, well, there's only one master program, and that is the Master of Arts program. And if you're thinking of doing a PhD after you graduate from the Master of Arts program, if you have a very strong background, if you have a good, you have chosen a supervisor and the supervisor has said yes to you, you have a good proposal, you meet all the criteria, and also you meet one of the four research teams that I explained earlier, then uh, there will not be a problem. We have a lot of students who graduated straight after ISS. They straight do a PhD program at ISS, and I know two of them who did a master program, did a PhD, and now work at ISS. So, so it is possible. Yes.
Okay, so next questions will be, you mentioned before that about the living in the hack there.
Mhm.
Do you have any suggestions or tips for new students or new international students who will study at ISS, how to settle in, how to live well during maybe the first 1 or 2 months? Because I think that's extremely important for you to get well in your new
Yeah.
city.
Yeah. So my advice is to stay with us. We have a dormitory. We have housing. Sorry, two two housing in the coming months. We have two or three housing in the coming for the new intake. We have more than enough rooms to accommodate. My advice is to try to stay with us because number one, it saves a lot of your money. It's about 500 to 600 euros a month. As you know, the Netherlands is very small, so housing shortage is very high. So it's not easy to just simply find a housing when you are at Indonesia because it's not easy as 1 2 3. So it's better you stay with us. You'll be better off. And also during the first months, the students who I take an example of the students who came to ISS in last September during the height of the pandemic. What we do is every student who came to ISS, we register them. You have to wear a mask. You come into the building, we register you, and then we give you a big box of food for your first day. So you have water, you
Wow.
have chips, you have banana, you have all food. And then every day there is somebody sending you food for 1 week. So somebody is always, so we hired someone to give you food every day for 1 week. So the idea is you must self quarantine for 7 days. So during your quarantine, you are advised strongly not to go out, of course. And then during your quarantine, you do not have to worry because you will have sufficient food.
Oh, that's
After
lovely.
Yeah, so after the seventh day, you can go out and then you do what you need to do. And also in terms of communication, because some students they want to already communicate with their family, yeah, the first second day itself, probably the first day itself, to say that they have arrived safely. So there's internet connection, things like that, for you to already have connection with your family. So we make sure well, we try to make sure that you live as comfortable as possible during the pandemic. But I think it's not going to be so difficult, I hope at least, in the coming year, next year.
All right. Okay, Darren, thank you very much for your time and also for your presentation. It
No worries.
explained pretty much about ISS, and we do hope that many webinar participants will be interested to
Yeah,
join and
yeah,
take part to your university. And do not forget that we also have virtual fair later on Friday and Saturday. So if any webinar participant are interested, you have to visit us again on on Friday and Saturday on events.ehave.id.
great.
So, Darren, thank you very much. Take care there, and we do hope that pandemic will be over soon, so we can go back to our normal life and we can study. You have mentioned before that even though it's pandemic, but the willingness of people to study still high. So,
Very strong.
after
Very,
pandemic, I believe it will be much higher
yeah.
than right now. Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
and I hope to see you again on Friday and Saturday.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye.